from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A very good evening to you and a warm welcome to the news live from the National News Studios. I'm Sharifa Tahir.
And I'm Prashant De Silva. First, a look at the headlines. Inflation to return to single-digit level. Central Bank to take regulatory actions if financial institutions fail to extend interest rates reduction benefits to the public. Prevailing heavy rain condition to reduce. Cement prices decline. Foreign envoys enjoy a train journey to Central Hills commemorating the 75 years of diplomatic relations. A clash between two Indian nationals in Colombo, one killed. Death toll from monsoon rains in Pakistan rises over 40. Central Bank says the headline inflation is expected to decline further to 70% within the month.
The headline inflation in the month of September last year was close to 70%. Meanwhile, speaking at the media briefing held today, Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe said that necessary regulatory action will be taken against banks and financial institutions failing to pass on the benefits of the interest rates reductions to the public.
Central Bank reduced the policy interest rates by further 200 basis points. And the major considerations that were taken into account are the faster than expected easing of inflation and firming of inflation expectations, and the protracted subdued economic activity, and the easing of balance of payments pressures to a large extent, and the need for a faster and adequate reduction in the market lending rates. Accordingly, standing deposit facility rate now stands at 11%, and the standing lending facility rate now stands at 12%, and the statutory reserve ratio stands at 4%. So the revised quarterly projection, indicates faster disinflation, and inflation will return to a mid-single digit level over the medium term, which will be supported by several factors, including the lagged impact of tight monetary and fiscal policies, and the expected softening of energy and food prices and their spillovers to general price level, and possible repricing of goods and services due to the appreciation of the exchange rate, plus the favorable base effect. So the headline inflation is expected to decline further and stabilize around mid-single digit level over the medium term. And in July and this month, we expect inflation to return to single digit level, about 7% level in July, and then decelerate further in the coming months and stabilize at mid-single digit level over the medium term.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe addressed allegations made by certain parties over the uncertainty created around the domestic debt restructuring process.
We, Central Bank, has responsibility for the financial system stability, the Central Bank balance sheet, and also custodian of the EPF. So our position has always been, because of the high inflation, high exchange rate, our domestic debt has already been effectively restructured to a certain extent. So our position at that time, obviously, was that we do not see a need for a further restructuring yet, because already that has happened. But what caused for us to change the position or compromise the situation, this is a negotiation process. So we reach a staff level agreement. Obviously, all our agreement commitment is to restore debt sustainability, sovereign debt sustainability. Then we agree to a certain next 10-year debt targets. Then when we ask our external creditors to make a contribution, and on that basis, based on the debt targets, debt service, external debt, and debt to GDP, and gross financing needs. So we have asked the external creditors to make a significant contribution for us to bring down our debt sustainability from the creditors that they have lent us past. When they make that, when we make that request in the negotiation, obviously, the next question coming is that for them to give that relief or concession, they think that what we have done already in terms of One is a fiscal primary surplus 2.3% plus some adjustment in terms of as a result of inflation and exchange rate is not sufficient. They would like to see some more little contribution compared to what they are going to give us. So this is a process of negotiations. So in that negotiation, obviously, there are two choices. You are in a process of negotiation. You can hold on to a position or will not do anything and can drag the process. But our interest in that negotiation is to, while understanding there has to be a compromise, there has to be a domestic contribution, how best we can optimize the contribution while protecting the interest of the central bank, securing financial stability, minimize impact on central bank balance sheet. Third, minimizing the impact on EPF as a custodian EPF. On those intentions, we also involved in the negotiation with the Minister of Finance. We were able to come to the most possible and best deal that one can achieve.
He also shared his views over the monetary stance of the bank in proactively returning the inflation rate back to single-digit level.
If any pressure is not to raise policy rates from the IMF, their view is different. But here what we see is if you look at the disinflation path, it's the sharpest. When you can see this kind of inflation falling sharply, I don't think anyone can justify the policy rates maintaining. Under normal circumstances, if inflation is 5%, policy rates can be 7.5, 8, 9 level maximum. But still, inflation is 12 last month. It will be 7% end of this month. It will be low single digit going forward. I don't think if any proactive monetary policy and credible monetary policy, we have to be proactive. This is where I think this is our data-driven monetary policy action that monetary board has agreed and decided to reduce policy rates even this time by another 200 basis. The proactiveness means even when you raise, you can remember in April, one shot 700 basis points. We have never done that earlier. This is not that kind of adjustment here. It's a gradual adjustment. Still, we want to see some stabilization. And still, there are some balance of payment pressures. We are not in a very comfortable position in terms of reserves. We need to build up more reserves. To stabilize the economy, we want to, at the same time, we want to recover the economy to a more stable level. So this is a process. I think I don't say this is any kind of influence or pressure here.
Central Bank Governor also commented on the progress achieved in the debt talks with foreign creditors.
On the foreign creditors, obviously, first step that we have cleared the domestic debt optimization. And our next step, parallelly, we have been having very close discussions, negotiation with both the ad hoc coordinated platform chaired by India and Japan with the Paris Club. That process is going on, and also we have shared data analysis proposals, and then they have shared with the observer status countries like non-Paris Club, China and others of all these countries. And technical work is going and making good progress on the bilateral side. And also parallelly with China, there's bilateral discussions are going with the CDB Exim Bank by the Minister of Finance. And on the ISB holders, we had several rounds of discussions, ideas exchange quite extensively. I think we hope that also parallelly that process will also make progress. Now, we have done our part now. So now it is up to the creditors, and we would like to expedite the process and reach to an agreement with both bilateral and ISB creditors before the first review. That's the timeline that we are working on somewhere in September, October.
He made remarks over the domestic debt optimization program and the interest rate revisions.
We have to understand the reasons. Parallel reasonable adjustment. We can't expect like the treasury bill rates can't come down immediately by investors' demand on the treasury bills, whereas the banks, they have to factor in their cost of funds and they have to reprice the deposits and cost of funds. So on that basis, we look at the reasonable time period and we look at how that has been coming down in the past and do some research and see whether that is reasonable or whether we need some push, then we will obviously give a push. But it's difficult to give a time frame right now.
A select committee of Parliament was appointed today to investigate causes for financial bankruptcy declared by the government. Speaker Mahinda Yapa announced that he appointed the committee under the chair of MP Attorney at Law Sagara Karyavasan.
මේ රටේ බංකොලොත් භාවයේ නිර්මාණය වෙන්න ප්‍රධානතම
Accordingly, parliamentarians Pavitra Devi Vanyarachi, D.V. Chanakar, Vijita Herath, Mahindananda Alutgamage, Eran Vikramaratna, Ashok Abesingha, Jayanta Katagoda, Harshana Rajakaruna, Major Pradeep Undugoda, Sajiva Edirimana, Nalaga Kottegoda, Shanaki and Rasamanikam and Professor Ranjit Bandara have been appointed to serve in the select committee. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa said that providing tax concessions valuing 600 to 700 billion is the main reason for bankruptcy of this country, as accepted by the entire nation. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that even though the opposition leader believes in this fact, no other economist in the country is accepting it.
The second reading of the anti-corruption bill was passed in Parliament today. The committee staged debate on the draft bill was postponed until the 19th. Parliamentarian Anurukumara Disanayake said that leaders of Pakistan and Bangladesh have been jailed over corruption charges. However, he said that in Sri Lanka, not even a Pradeshiya Sabha councillor receives an imprisonment over corruptive activities. He pointed out that more than loopholes in the legal framework, such corrupt offenders receive the protection of the government. Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said that according to the law in the country, legal action could be taken against all types of criminal activities. He said that under the Bribery and Corruption Act, legal action could be taken against such offences, even the crimes occurred 20 years back. Opposition leader Sajid Premadasa said that under a Samagi Janabalavegiya government, more progressive effort will be taken to address the prevention of corruption in the country.
Both this amounts to, Honourable Member, abuse of the process. That's what we are saying. We must ensure the independence of these institutions. Very, very important. That's the crux of the matter. This is only the beginning. That's what I am saying. We are all against corruption. We must see corruption is an endemic problem in this country. But what are we doing? We are just lip servicing over a period of time. When you are in government, you will find fault, not do anything. Opposition says that you have so many cases. When you are in opposition, you will say the same thing. It happened in 70 to 77, it happened to 77 to 94, it happened to 94 to 2005, it happened to 2005 to 2015. And thereafter it's still happening. I am saying we should not politicize this whole process. That's an independent process. That process has to take its place. We must ensure that it takes place. I'm also suggesting that, like the COPA, like the finance, we should have a parliamentary select committee or a committee here to look at the progress of this. How many cases have been filed? What are the infrastructure problems you have? What are the new laws you require? What are the capital infusion you want? What kind of support it is necessary? And of course, upgrade the benchmark. That's what I was telling. When the Hong Kong introduced these laws about 30-40 years ago, Hong Kong was one of the most corrupt countries. But today, it has almost eliminated corruption and become one of the most well-respected countries. So it's important that we need to go there. In doing so, we are all for in this. But I am saying lip service alone will not make a difference. We all should work together and find a way.
Met Department says prevailing heavy showers and strong winds over the south and western parts of the country are expected to reduce from today. However, the National Building Research Organisation is informed that the landslide warning issued for Nuwara in Nuwara district and Ahaliyogoda in Ratnapura district will remain effective. Disaster Management Centre has indicated that 74 divisional secretariat divisions in 11 districts have been affected from heavy showers and strong winds which prevailed from the last 4 days. Around 594 families have been affected from the weather condition. 604 houses have been partially damaged. Nuwara and Hatton National Education Directors yesterday decided to temporarily close all schools in the relevant zones today and tomorrow due to the prevailing inclement weather condition in the western slopes of the Central Hills. Principals have been officially informed that the school should be conducted on the upcoming weekends in lieu of the closing days. Met Department said that showers will occur at several places in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Strong winds about 45 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in western slopes of the central hills, northern and north central provinces and in Puttalam, Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. In the meantime, sea areas off the coast extending from Trincomalee to Puttalam via Kankasanture and Mana and sea areas off the coast extending from Hambantota to Pottuvel will be rough at times.
Secretary to the President, Saman Ekanayake, has directed instructions to all secretaries to ministries with regard to attending meetings of the committees of the Parliament. Accordingly, this was communicated in an official letter copied to the Speaker of Parliament and Secretary General of Parliament. Accordingly, the officials attending meetings of any committee of the Parliament were instructed to be equipped with relevant knowledge of the subjects under discussion and be prepared to provide information when requested by the committee. Meanwhile, it was recommended having preparatory meetings and to be prepared to answer the questions raised by the members of the committee with respect to the items on the agenda. However, the President's Secretary has indicated that in cases where the officials are asked questions that are not included in the agenda, they may request a reasonable time period to answer and respond within the agreed time. In a situation where the Secretary to the Ministry cannot attend a meeting they have been invited to, a senior official could attend the meeting as a representative with the permission of the chairperson of the relevant committee. Further, the officials should attend the meetings of the sectoral oversight committees with the approval of the relevant minister. However, if the minister has concerns regarding the matters to be discussed, those shall be conveyed to the chairperson of the sectoral oversight committee by the minister. If the leader of the opposition wishes to summon public officers to a meeting to be held in the parliamentary premises, he will inform the minister in writing, who will then sanction the officers to attend such meetings. When the officials of the Ministry of Finance are summoned for finance-related oversight committees, they should attend the meetings with the approval of the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance.
A decision has been reached to reduce the LAF's gas prices from midnight today. Accordingly, the new price of a 12.5 kilogram gas cylinder is at 3,690 rupees. Director and the Group CEO of LAF's Gas PLC, Dr. Nirochan J. Piris, said that they have taken a decision to reduce prices of domestic gas cylinders effective from midnight today. Accordingly, he said that the prices of 12.5 kilogram and 5 kilogram gas cylinders will be reduced by 300 rupees and 120 rupees respectively. He further said that the decision was taken due to the strengthening of the rupee against the US dollar and the slash of global gas prices. Minister Nalin Fernando said that the maximum retail price of cement has been reduced.
He made these remarks during a media briefing held in Colombo today. Minister Nalin Fernando said that the maximum retail price for a 50 kilogram bag of cement will be 2,300 rupees. He said that the cement manufacturers have reached an agreement to supply cement to distributors for a much lower price. He said that setting up a maximum retail price will reduce price discrepancies issues arose earlier. Minister Nalin Fernando also said that the exhibiting the prices of food items will be made mandatory. Minister further said that instructions have been directed to the Consumer Affairs Authority over the mandatory requirement of exhibiting the prices of food items.
Foreign heads of missions in Sri Lanka engaged in a special tour in the central hills of the country recently, commemorating the 75 years of independence and diplomacy.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in collaboration with the Presidential Secretariat and the Sri Lanka Tourism Promotion Bureau, organized the Allah Odyssey tour. Allah Odyssey is part of Sri Lanka's commemoration of 75 years of independence and diplomacy, testament to the country's enduring engagement with the international community. The journey to the mesmerizing tea country in the mountains of Sri Lanka took place from July 1st to 3rd. The foreign heads of mission undertook a journey on board the Viceroy Special, a vintage train reminiscent of the country's colonial past. The diplomatic envoys forayed into the country's colonial past and the country's cool highlands, past Kandy to Nuwara Eliya en route to Allah to experience Sri Lanka's verdant beauty, hospitality and adventure tucked away in the lush and misty mountainous landscapes in the country's interior. The passengers also witnessed gushing waters of St. Clair's Falls, the biodiverse Knuckles Range and Pattipala, home to Sri Lanka's highest railway station. Those on board were able to feast their eyes on the changing panorama of the scenic route, including the engineering marvel that is the 9-arch bridge, Nala, a railway viaduct that was built in the 20th century, and the Turbanesque Demodara Loop. Legendary Sri Lankan hospitality awaited the travellers at the Grand Hotel in Nuwara, a national heritage building steeped in colonial history and grandeur. The Pedro Tea Estate welcomed the visitors to a tasting of one of the world's finest beverages, Ceylon tea. The heads of mission also had the opportunity to call on President Wickremesinghe and First Lady Maitri Wickremesinghe at the official residence.
And we're so thankful for this beautiful and memorable train ride we are taking with the Diplomatic Corps. We've been able to traverse and see all the different flora and fauna, the mountains and waterfalls of Sri Lanka. We want to encourage more people to come visit Sri Lanka at this time. This is such a beautiful country, rich in natural heritage and historical heritage. This is somewhere that everybody really should come and experience for yourself.
Well, I'm enjoying very much this train trip to Nuwara and Ella. I have always been wanting to visit here, and this trip gave me a very good opportunity.
This is Paul Stevens. I'm the Australian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka. It's just fantastic to see how diverse Sri Lanka is, diverse culture, diverse geography, and also just stunning natural beauty. So it's been a wonderful experience.
My name is Jean-François Pactet. I'm the French ambassador in Colombo. This trip was a great opportunity actually to discover some parts and some places I hadn't had the opportunity to go. And I felt privileged to be able to do it in such a nice train, old-fashioned and with all the glamour.
Hantu, Ambassador on Myanmar. These trips make me enlightened and then educated and then make me very marvelous enjoyment.
Hi, I'm Tariq Islam, High Commissioner for Bangladesh to Sri Lanka. It has been an incredible journey, to say the least. The train journey was fantastic. Thank you so much. It has been a lifetime experience.
I am Basudev Misra, Ambassador of Nepal to Sri Lanka. The trip was tremendous and joyful.
My name is Sandile Edwin Skal. I'm the South Africa's High Commissioner Sri Lanka. This has been an awesome visit, awesome travel by train. We enjoyed every bit of this visit.
I am Victor Cujda, Ambassador Charge d'Affaires ad interim Romania in Colombo. This trip will offer us the opportunity to know other parts of the country and also to find some possibility for new business, especially in the field of tourism and also in the field of tea and spices.
My name is Javier Paulinich, Ambassador of Peru to Sri Lanka. This is just some examples of the willingness to strengthen our relationship with this important and beautiful country like Sri Lanka.
I am Denis Shaibi, the EU Ambassador. The incredible opportunity to go around Sri Lanka in a beautiful train. The trip between Nuwara and Ella is just mesmerizing, and we all greatly enjoyed this opportunity to be all together with the Sri Lankan authorities and have some fun time in this incredible country.
State Minister Shehan Semasinga says Sri Lanka must conclude the domestic and foreign debt restructuring in order to lead to a rating upgrade. The State Minister said that Sri Lanka should reach official agreements over the domestic and foreign debt restructuring to gain rating upgrades internationally. He said that it is accepted methodology of international credit rating agencies. He also said that following the completion of domestic debt optimization process, the rating agencies will reveal their official position in Sri Lanka.
State Minister Pramita Bandarathenakon says the government will not take any decision that compromises national security due to political pressure or other influences. He instead said that steps have been taken to curb illegal human migration and drug trafficking through the Indian Ocean. He expressed his views today during a press conference themed One Way to a Stable Country held at the Presidential Media Centre. State Minister Pramita Bandarathenakon said that every year the Sri Lankan government obtains a report on national security for the following 5 years. He said that the assessment covers crimes related to geopolitics, terrorism, extremism and illicit activity. In accordance with the evaluation, he pointed out that steps will be taken regarding the security of the country as a state. When making decisions, these evaluations are taken into consideration. The State Minister further emphasized that steps have been taken to curb illegal human migration and drug trafficking through the Indian Ocean and that additional steps will be taken to strictly enforce laws to control this situation. He said that the security of the Indian Ocean is a concern for both India and Sri Lanka. The Navy is responsible for our region's marine security, he added.
New commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force, Air Marshal Udeni Rajapaksa, made a courtesy visit to President Ranil Wickremesinghe at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Air Marshal Udeni Rajapaksa is the 19th commander of the Sri Lanka Air Force. As per tradition, Air Marshal Udeni Rajapaksa presented a commemorative gift to the President during the meeting. Additionally, he held a brief discussion with President's Senior Advisor on National Security Sagala Ratnayaka and President's Secretary Saman Ekanayaka.
An Indian national has died after a train's brawl with another Indian national in the Indian restaurant at a luxury shopping complex in Colombo. The police have said that a dispute between the two at their lodging in Kompanavidya had led to the incident. Police media spokesman SSP Nihal Thalduwa said that a group of Indian nationals have arrived at the restaurant as employees 2 weeks ago. He said that it was revealed that the suspect had visited the restaurant though he was supposed to be at the accommodation. He said the victim was working at the restaurant when the suspect entered the premises. The suspect was taken to the Colombo National Hospital today to identify the deceased. Colombo Fort Magistrate Thirina Gamage inquired into the body of the victim. Well, that's it on local news. We'll be back with news overseas.
Back with foreign news. Pakistan officials say that the death toll from 2 weeks of monsoon rains rose to at least 43 today. The deaths were reported due to weather-related incidents in Pakistan's eastern city of Lahore amidst fears of floods. Lahore witnessed a record-breaking downpour the previous day, flooding many streets and disrupting normal life. Since yesterday, 11 people have died in the city due to collapsing roofs and electrocution. Pakistan's weather forecast agency warned of more rain to hit the city.
We move on to sports news now. Captain of the Bangladesh one-day international team, Tamim Iqbal, announced his retirement from international cricket today. He made this announcement following the defeat against Afghanistan in the first match of the bilateral series.
The first ODI match between Bangladesh and Afghanistan were held in Chittagong yesterday. Batting first, Bangladesh scored 169 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in 43 overs. Afghanistan, in reply, was 83 runs for the loss of 2 wickets in the 21st over of their innings before rain interrupted the match. Accordingly, Afghanistan won the match by 11 17 runs as per the Duckworth-Lewis method. Following the defeat, Captain Tamim Iqbal called a press briefing and officially announced his retirement from international cricket.
Well, that's it on the news tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have yourself a pleasant